Hey there, it's Kay, and thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Today I'm finally going to be sharing with you guys my debt payoff plan for the full year of 2021. But before we get into it, as always, I just want to give a big thank you to my returning subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me again. And if you're new to my channel and my content, I would love to see you follow me on my journey by subscribing down below. Alrighty, let's get into it. So here is the worksheet that I've come up with to map out this payout plan. If you've seen my 2021 budget goals video, you might recognize this because it's almost exactly identical to the worksheet that I had made for that. Obviously this is a 2-page spread, but I used the same squares and everything, and I just changed the headers to the 12 months of the year, and I listed them down, so 1 through 3, 4 through 6, and they're basically broken off into the 4 quarters of the year, which is really important for me because my job is travel based and I get more travel based work in the spring summer months, and from that extra income I'll be able to make much larger debt snowball payments. So I kind of did separate it out in that way so that you can actually see that these snowball amounts that I've estimated are correspondingly going to increase or decrease depending on what part of the year we are in. The other thing I did too for this video is I made myself some little sticker icons because I'm on my last credit card and it is going to be paid off this year, and I'm very excited about that. And I'll finally be moving on to my student loans, which, if you have been following me on my journey, you know that I am still a student. I went back to school about a year ago, and because of the uncertainty of perhaps losing my job, I opted to take out student loans for this school year instead of using my employer's tuition reimbursement, because if I lost my job, I would be responsible for those tuition payments. I wouldn't be getting them back from my employer, and I didn't want to risk it, but I also didn't want to give up my education. So I'm in a unique situation to where I'm paying down debt and also accruing debt at the same time. And my overall focus has been paying down my credit card debts. I have been aggressively knocking off my credit cards, and also I killed off my auto loan last year. So this year I'll finally be able to finish paying down that, which is all my high interest debt, and I'll be moving on to my student debt, which is fairly low interest but very large balances. So let's get into working on this plan, starting with the current month of January. And I'm gonna zoom you guys in so that we have a closer look here. So with January, we are still working on my credit card debt, which is the Visa card I have with my credit union. So I'm gonna mark that there. I'm also gonna grab a mild liner so that I can color code these debts so it's easier for me to look at them. So I'm just gonna grab this blue. And the way that I'm mapping this out is gonna be starting balance, the minimum payments, the snowball amount that I think I'll be able to make, and then the approximate ending balances. So these numbers are going to be approximate, but as accurate as I can get them without getting super nitty-gritty, because I love doing math, but I'm also very lazy, so I don't want to do too much math. I gotta save that for my schoolwork and everything. So we know that I ended 2020 with, I think it was like 2,450 and some change on my card. So I'm gonna put that we're starting at about 2,460. Again, like I said, is gonna be approximate. The minimum payments, when I made this plan, I budgeted for a $50 minimum, but my minimum did go down to 41. So fairly accurate on that one. And Snowball, I already did the budget for January. Snowball amount was $400. So it's calculator time. So $24.60 is our approximate starting balance. We make a payment minimum of $50 and an additional of $400. It's $2,010, but it's approximately $30 of interest that I'm getting on that balance right now. So if we add the $30 of interest, the approximate ending balance for January is going to be $2,040. And that's what we're gonna take down into February. So let me get another card. And yes, start, minimum payment, Snowball, and ending balance. So our starting balance for February should be approximately $2,040. Like I said, the minimum payment has dropped down to be $41. I'm just gonna round it to 40 just to make things look nice and mathematically even as possible. And for February, I think I'll also be able to do a $400 Snowball because I will be in New York by the time I get my second paycheck of February. Will have my first couple weeks of being in New York on there, so I get $50 a day just to be there. So that's already $50 a day extra that I wasn't making before. So I definitely think I'll be able to make wiggle room and make a $400 Snowball on that. So back to calculator, we're at 2040. We make a $40 minimum payment, a $400 Snowball, and we have $30 of interest. So we should be ending February at about $1,630. So that's awesome because that means I'll finally be under that $2,000 mark. And I started paying this card, it was like just over $4,000. So I'll be like, at the end of January, I'll already be halfway paid off on that thing, which is crazy to think that I'm already like halfway there. This card has been such a menace to me, and most of this is medical debt, and it's so crazy to me that I just put myself in these situations. But March is obviously, we're going to be continuing to pay on this credit card. So we have the start, minimum payment, Snowball, and ending balance. And February's ending balance will be March's approximate starting balance. So $1,630 is what we should walk into March with. The minimum payment again is going to be approximately $40 on that. And the Snowball, I actually think I'll be doing a higher Snowball than January and February because again, I'll have that New York money coming in, and we also start more traveling regionally. So I'm gonna put for a $500 Snowball on that. So if we have $1,630 and we make a $40 minimum, we make a $500 Snowball, and we have $30 of interest to add, we should be ending March at about $1,120. So by the end of this first quarter of the year, I will pretty much have the balance almost in half. So that's really cool to see that. So April is gonna be kind of a big move. I think I can do it. April, I want to have this card paid off because I'm going to be having not only travel income from work, but I'll also have a student loan reimbursement This happened to me last semester where I got a direct deposit because the student loan that I had taken out for the semester was for a larger amount than the cost of my classes. So I got the difference back in a direct deposit, and I used that to pay down some debt. So the same thing is going to happen to me again this semester. I honestly don't know for how much, but let's get starting. The minimum payment, the snowball, and ending balance. So March's ending balance is April starting, so we're walking in April at 1120, and I don't think the minimum payment's gonna go down. I think it'll just stay at 40. I think it'll probably go down to like 37 or 35, because those are like normal credit card minimum payment amounts, if you know what I mean. But with Snowball and that student loan refund combined, I'm pretty sure I can wipe out this card. So we have 1120. The minimum payment is $40. It's $10.80. And I think at this point, the interest that I'll be collecting on that, so if we're almost at half of that, I would say probably maybe like $20 of interest on that to the principal. So the snowball, if I make a snowball of 1100, that should pretty much pay off that Visa card and end all of my credit card debt right there at the end of April. So pretty big, strong moves in the second quarter here, but I had a lot of time to sit down and think about this plan. So I did play it around with different numbers, and I've chosen the scenario. I think this is going to be the best scenario to help me accomplish what I want to get done next. So walking into May, we are going to be moving into paying down my student loans finally. So let me put away this marker, and I'll grab a different one. Why don't we grab this purple? That should show up good on camera, I would think. And I'm going to grab a little graduation cap that I made. And my student loan servicer is Nelnet. The entire time I've been budgeting, if you haven't been following me on my journey, I haven't been making student loan payments because they've been deferred by the government and they've been deferred by my part-time student status. So I just haven't been paying them so that I have more money to divert to paying down my high interest credit card debt. But once my credit cards are paid off, I'm gonna just start slamming these student loans down. They are pretty high balances on a lot of them, but they are very low interest compared to my credit cards. So a lot of these little loans are what I'm planning to be knocking off this year. So in May, we're going to be focusing on my Nelnet E account. The Nelnet loan accounts are lettered, and the starting amounts on that should be approximately $650. Again, because I am actively a part-time student, I actually don't have to make a minimum payment on them if I don't want to, and I'm fairly certain that I'll have enough money to completely wipe that loan out. So I'm gonna put a snowball amount of $650, and we're just gonna aim to knock out that Nelnet E account in May. Like, gone. Boom. On to the next one already. So in June, we're gonna move on to my Nelnet A account, my very first student loan from when I went to community college for the first time in 2013, which makes me feel a little old, but you're never too old to be in school. Don't ever let anyone try to tell you that. Since we're moving on to a different loan group, I'm gonna change my color again here. And why don't we do this orange? I really like this orange, actually. It should still show up good on camera. Yeah. On my viewfinder, it looks good. All right, minimum payment. Snowball. And I wish I had made stickers for these words to make it easier, but I made my first batch with like these and they didn't come out. Obviously they're like really tiny. I messed up and I don't have a lot of time to make new ones, so I apologize if it's a little hard to read. But Nelnet A account, let me just get this up here. Nelnet A account, I have, it's a little less than $9.50, it's just shy of it, so we're gonna put that the starting balance is gonna be about $950, just to make it look smooth. And then obviously no minimum payment required because I'm a student. And June, again, I'll be traveling, so I'm gonna put for a $600 snowball amount. So $950 minus $600 would be $350, but this is actually my one loan with the highest interest, and I think it's like 5.5% or something. So I'm just gonna put the ending balance is gonna be, I don't know, $375. That looks good to me. Yeah, 5.5% interest on $350 is like 20 bucks. So that's a little bit of an overestimate. So that works for me in terms of numbers. For July here, obviously we are still gonna be on the Nelnet A account, but we'll be finishing it off. So July starting balance is June's ending balance, which we estimated to be about $375. Again, I don't have a minimum payment, and I could very easily wipe out this debt. So we're gonna put the snowball. We said it was like what, $20 of interest, so $395 would be the snowball there, and then that would allow us to end at 0. That means for August we can transition into another student debt. The thing is now, these two were the lowest balances I have. Now we're getting into the over $1,000 balances is kind of all I have left. So the next smallest balance, because I'm going by the snowball method here, my next smallest loan group is D. I think for D, either indigo or green. Probably the indigo will show up the best on camera, so let's switch to indigo here. So start, minimum payment, snowball, and ending balance. So I do have here that Nelnet D is 14 and some change. It's just under 1,500, so we're gonna put that it's gonna be approximately $1,500 starting on that Nelnet D. And probably, minimum payment is none. For a snowball in August, obviously I did take it a little bit light in July, so August, which is going to be one of the last months I have to travel for work, I think I could pull a $500 snowball. So 1,500 minus 500 is 1,000, and I didn't write down the interest rate on this one, but if I remember correctly, this one's really low. It's like 2 or 3%. So it's really not that much of interest. We're just gonna round it to the 1,000. So yeah. So we're moving down to September, where we are still working on loan D here. As I go along on this debt journey on these student loans, they're just going to take a lot longer and a lot longer to pay off because, I mean, the amounts on some of them are like almost $4,000. So I might even end up spending like an entire year paying off one of them. But let's see, we're going to start at about $1,000 in September. And we don't have a minimum payment here. And this is where my travel funds will start dwindling out. And I'm gonna probably want to start saving for the holidays and things. So we're gonna lower the snowball amount to $400. And that will put our ending balance at about $600. That obviously doesn't include any interest, but interest on this loan, if I remember correctly, is pretty low. So that means we're still paying off letter D into October. So we have Nelnet D again. And these months are going to be very low snowball months because I'm not going to have extra income from traveling really. So we're going to be walking into October with about $600 on that Nelnet D with no minimum payments. And I definitely have been able to finagle the $300 snowball. So we're going to put it down to $300 probably for the rest of the year. So if we start at 600, snowball 300, we'll end at about 300, which means we'll be able to finish it off in November. So that's actually pretty cool. So Nelnet D once again, but it should be finished. I guess that begs the question of, do I want to start another loan in December, start paying off something else? So we should be starting with about 300, no minimum payment, and we're going to snowball 300, and that should finish off Nelnet D. So we're going to finish up Nelnet D in November. So for December, I could start a new loan, like start attacking another student loan, or I could, is it bad to take a break? I don't think it would be. I know everyone's journey is different, and I feel like a lot of people might disagree with me on it, but I think I might leave December as just like taking a break month, because I'll be just so tired, busy, because I work in retail and my holiday season is just retail support and going and helping my local stores. So I'm just going to be so tired dealing with customers and inventory and stupid stuff that, like, I guess December could be a catch-up month. Like if something happens to where like I don't quite hit some of these really high goals over here, then December could just be catch-up. I won't be mad at myself for that. So I guess December will be take a break. Or catch up if needed. Because I mean, at the end of the day, this is just a roadmap for myself so that I have some structure to follow. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I will be able to accomplish these things, and it's okay if you aren't able to accomplish your goals as long as you like put forth the effort to. So obviously I have these goals with the intent of completing them, but it is possible to where I could need an extra month for something. So I think that's gonna be it. Alright guys, so here it is. Here is my comprehensive debt payoff plan for the year of 2021. And I know it was a super long video, so if you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I would also love to see you leave a like and a comment in the video, as well as subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I can't wait to continue on my journey and knock off a ton of debt this year. Anyway, I can't wait to see you in the next video. Peace out.